Disclaimer, this is an opinion piece, so please assume, as you should with any information, any authoritative language I use by mistake or for metaphor or emphasis is, again, opinion. So please take this all with a grain of salt. Make your own conclusions. Hey guys, I don't usually make this sort of content. I like to make people laugh. I like to have fun. But I feel like this is something I really need to get off my chest. And making a video about it will make me feel better, so I can turn my focus and attention towards things that are actually worth my effort. This video might come as a shock to some of the people in my circle who actually know what's going on, but I'm not going to be naming any names. That's not the purpose of this video. Unlike some people, I don't have the time nor effort to go around slandering people. I am busy with university. I have friends to keep up with, and I have goals and projects I need to continue working on. So for me, after this, the matter is rather closed. I'm going to be stating it as is, for the most part, to the best of my ability, but if anyone is asking the point of this video, it's really just a PSA on manipulators, regardless of whether or not they do it on purpose, and even more so an informational piece for some of my friends who I don't feel like explaining the same concepts to over and over. I wanted something rather complete, you know. Before I ever begin, I'm not angry at anyone. I don't feel hatred or resentment. There will be no name calling on my behalf. I like to consider myself at least a man of logic. I try, to the best of my abilities when handling the external to adhere to the process of reason. As one of my favorite YouTubers says, love with your heart and use your head for everything else. Let's begin. Once on the 11th of July, I met this guy. Let's call him, for the sake of this video, Mika. That's not his actual name online or in real life, but it doesn't actually matter. I was introduced to Mika through a mutual friend of mine. We hit it off pretty well. He seemed like an intelligent, sensible guy. He was from Australia, and I have a lot of Aussie friends. They're generally pretty funny and bantery and aren't too sensitive. So over the course of a few months, we actually discovered that mutual friend of mine and ex of mine was catfishing people. And together we managed to uncover a lot of information about this catfish, and we were able to come to a conclusion that left us both relatively happy. If I recall, he says he ended up suing since she was in New Zealand and he in Australia, and it was an easy enough process, or at least that's what he told me. I mean, I take it with a grain of salt, but I'd like to think that's what happened, as it's a satisfying enough conclusion. And after that, summer began for me. It was a summer of regret for me. I learned one thing. You shouldn't try to play games with people's hearts. There was this girl I liked. We got along well enough for the most part, but I got too clingy. With nothing else to focus on over that summer before I started my first year at university, all I did was play video games, wait on this girl, make shitty YouTube videos. Looking back, I'm a bit disgusted on how I acted, sort of like a puppy dog, waiting in a relationship disproportionate in affection, but of my own choosing. Had I maybe worked better on myself, focused on my own projects, perhaps my obsessiveness would have been curbed, and the time dilation I experienced that summer lessened. But I acted like a fool. It almost became a game, trying to win the heart of this girl, and coldly I forgot that there was somebody else behind the screen. Faced with rejection at the end, I lashed out. I said some mean things towards someone who never deserved them. However, I wasn't alone in this game. I had an encourager. There is no blame to shift. It is all on me for the words I said towards this girl. However, the game was not played alone. If my biggest regret is trying to play games with someone else's love, my second biggest regret would be bringing in Mika to play that game for and with me. There was some sort of egging on to be had, like do X if you want her to like you more, or try this, etc. It was just games. Games I shouldn't have even been trying to play in the first place. Love should come naturally. You shouldn't try to force it. You shouldn't try to rush somebody who isn't ready, and you definitely shouldn't try to be deceitful. Someone, possibly yourself, will always wind up getting hurt. That wasn't the end of it, though. The thing about Mika is that he wasn't just playing games. He was playing himself up. I didn't notice it until much, much later. However, Mika had a problem with self-esteem. Now, I don't mean to insult them. I'm simply stating what is my personal opinion. Fact or not. That's what I've really concluded it to. He would just constantly make disturbing statements about me and then try to play it off as a joke. Yeah, it's just banter, but when somebody calls you an idiot and other names hundreds of times, even after you've specifically told them it makes you uncomfortable, that's not really friendship. That's bullying. Friends don't do that to each other. And trust me, if you know me, I'm full of banter. Name-calling your friends using serious language, and then trying to play it off as a joke. The thing is, language is very powerful. You speak something 100 times and people start to believe it as true. You'd be surprised. There are many interesting studies on it. I'd recommend looking into some Jordan Peterson lectures if you're interested on the psychological literature behind it. As a consequence, I noticed that my friends would start treating me with respect. Suddenly, everyone thought it was okay to call me names. They treat me like a fool, but to which I am not. There is a time and a place to be made fun of, but not constantly. Not every day. To which I cut it off with Mika. Several months, I barely texted him, let alone do things together every day like we used to. This was a week or so after the girl I had previously held feelings for had blocked me due to my ridiculous actions. When I realized just how toxic my relationships with Mika had been, things got better. And honestly, I got extremely busy in other terms. I didn't even have Discord installed for a bit. Without Mika trying to help me, I wasn't as miserable. I wasn't constantly questioning myself around him anymore, and there were no more games. I stopped playing games. Games are for children. Adults, they talk. However, I forgot. Perhaps this is my ultimate mistake. As one maybe have concluded later on in this video, I shouldn't have messaged him again after he refused to stop calling me names. After I specifically told him how much it hurt me, and he claimed he would probably still end up doing. Things were okay for a bit, but tensions I could feel were climbing, like I'm walking on eggshells. After this point, I didn't really want to play games. I didn't allow him to call me names, and any attempt at such led to me bitterly calling him out. It wasn't really sustainable, I don't think. As such, I don't really have any regret. I mean, I've learned from it. Now I know the signs, and how to stop it. Let's skip ahead to rather recent terms. The in-between is fluff. Games of Overwatch, silly things like that. Now I can begin to show the flip, the devolve, the breakdown of Mika as a logical entity for me. Him, in my eyes now, a pity. And I don't mean that as an insult. Honestly, it's a shame. Someone so intelligent has acted in such a way, and still, yet, they see it not. It all began one night in my second mistake, bringing another love interest to him. This time, however, it was slightly different. I was not looking to play games. I was not looking to change someone else's heart. I was worried about mine. Confused, I sought direction. Why do I like this person so much, and yet it feel wrong to date them? Was it because they were coming on too strongly? Was I not just ready to, yet was I allowed to float, as he said? Let's call this girl Lisa. Lisa I had known for a while now, a few months. We had met up a few weeks before the call to him and had a great time in her hometown. She's great. Amazing. Even just 10 days ago, she came to visit me in Los Angeles. But I needed time. I don't think I was ready for the relationship. I really wanted to think on it. You know, I'm actually planning on asking her out after I release this video, or perhaps before, since this video is rather long and it takes time to write up my thoughts. You know, I came to Mika with these thoughts and how the relationship felt disproportionate in affection. Like she had grown to love me faster than I had wheels to keep up. However, the problem lied in Mika also had feelings for Lisa, even though they had only met about a week or two before I had introduced them to each other. He had already confessed his love for her. And she didn't exactly not like him back. I mean, she did. However, my concern did not lie in the fact that she would choose me or him, but rather that Mika had alternative motives when choosing his words to me. Along with this, I think he felt resentment that Lisa had feelings for me when I seemingly rejected them. Not the case in my eyes, but I simply felt like I needed time. People cut me too much credit, as if to try to manipulate somebody or keep them on the hook. There's not some power in me that makes me more emotionally adept just because I like to use big words, as it be described by others. The heart is a fickle thing. Anyways, this resentment grew, I think. Really, that's where the flip occurred, that call. I went from being a friend to, as he puts it, an enemy. I had his love interest intertwined with me. He wanted to get rid of that intertwining. It'd make it easier for him, after all. Just a game. I think I first started seeing signs on his Discord server. There was some conversation on my aim, something I'm actually quite proud of. It's one of the few things I put a lot of work into. However, I had stopped playing Overwatch, only really hopping on my Platinum account to troll, or placing an account and letting it decay back to 3,000. The game had gotten sort of old for me, along with the fact I don't really have time to maintain a Grandmaster account anymore. There's a reason I'm playing Apex Legends now. I wish I had the logs to show you from his Discord, but alas, I don't think it's really important in the long run. There was a discussion, and honestly, we both got a bit heated. He kept insulting my aim, claiming I was hard stuck in Diamond. Very, very not true. In fact, I had only really played on my Platinum account, so his claims didn't really make any sense. I had made some backhanded compliment on how I once thought he had been boosted, but once he climbed back up, I realized he was telling the truth. Apparently, Mika can't read, or he chooses not to. He ignored the rest of the sentence, picked out a convenient line, "You're boosted," or something along those lines, and took that as the end-all be-all of everything. As a joke, the next day, trying to relieve tensions, I named an Apex stream of mine, "Mika, I have better aim than you." To which he replied, "Let's be real, saying you have better aim than me is like saying Cheer boosted me," which both ended up being lies. I'm going to start scrolling through our conversation now. This is an HTML export of our conversation. Username is not the one he uses. I'll give you a play-by-play. "Why must you lie to your 0 viewers? Smeldic energy. It's a joke towards you. Why so caustic? It's a joke because nobody watches my stream," Mika says. So was my original comment. And I would say, "Just checking, because you referenced Chris boosting you and called that a lie, so I wasn't sure if you were being serious or not." "Oh," he says, "that part is a lie. That never happened." He says his comment on my stream was a joke. You know, I was confused because I know for a fact Shring boosted him, or at least one of his many accounts. This is one of those examples where you see people try to pass serious conversation topics off as jokes, so you just sort of let it slide instead of actually scrutinizing it. However, I called him out, and to his reply, he hands me some random screenshot of some account. I still really, to this day, don't understand why he did that, nor why he replied. Facts aren't hard to get, since that screenshot has nothing to do with him being boosted by Shring. I never claimed Shring did his placements, only that Shring at some point, Shring actually did play on his account for SR gains, to which he himself has literally told me that he was doing a small SR boost, as you can see here. And if you've admitted something, how is it a lie? This was the first crack I saw in Mika as someone I can't actually speak logically to. It's as if we were having two completely separate conversations. I even talked to Shring. He confirmed himself, and even later, after we stopped talking, that he continued to boost Mika even more SR because he felt bad for not completing the job earlier. I tell him I never even attacked him about this. He's played on my accounts, I've played on his accounts before. It really doesn't matter. It doesn't make him any less of a player, and I never said he was boosted. He was actually a low SR player. I said one of his accounts had been boosted up by Shring. And I questioned this sudden flip. Why are you putting up your defenses? Why, in voice, are you treating me like I've attacked you? I don't get why you tell people things, Dremek, with no backing. You do it a lot, and then I find out. Okay, first of all, I don't go and tell people things with no backing, aside from telling a single mutual friend, Lisa, about how he was boosted 200 SR by Shring when it was actually around 100. I hadn't actually done anything other than being slightly ignorant, to which I had actually admitted fault to. The whole boosted thing was just something he took out of context when I was actually sort of complimenting him with my surprise. And not just an insult veiled as a compliment, I was actually pleasantly surprised when he did turn out to be a good player. As such, he went from inactive to active on Overwatch, much like how I went from active to inactive, which is why I don't understand him suddenly calling my aim bad when I made aim-intensive heroes to get to GM. I tried to brush it off because it really doesn't matter. For anyone else, it doesn't matter. It's never really mattered. However, this was a good opportunity for Mika. It already flipped. It was a good excuse. No, like, you claim to be a friend, but you do this a lot. He starts to frame me a certain way. For himself, I think, not really for me. With things like, before you go out of your way. Well, I tried to deny it, of course. He's acting ridiculous. At the time, I hadn't really known he'd flipped on me, so I kept on as if trying to get through to a friend in a bad place. I hit him with, "You're closing off from me, like I'm an enemy." And then I got my first hint that he had other motives, because he says, "At this point, you are." And it sort of confirmed some of my suspicions. He says, "But come at me for no reason," without even realizing it, or maybe he did, that it was just me trying to stop him from bullying me in front of others. Let's continue. I go on to reference how I complained to Lisa about his jokes, i.e. the joke you saw earlier as an example. He claims they don't swap. Then I get another hint. Why are you taking anything I say seriously is beyond me. Red flag. Manipulation. They try to make you question your own sanity. Is anything he says to be taken seriously? If it acts like something serious, looks like something serious, and talks like something serious, you can't say it's a joke. Don't confide in me then. Very sound advice. I end up taking it. Let's continue. I go on to apologize to the best of my ability, still thinking I was talking to a friend and not somebody who had already marked me for destruction. It didn't matter what I was going to say. The conversation is over. You know my stance. Not sure what that means. Seems like a convenient way to stop logic in its steps so you can insert your own agenda. I admit some fault. Continuing, instead of talking to others on my grievances with Mika, I should come to him directly like a man. However, apparently, logic doesn't matter. My care for your reasoning is so low. A logical fallacy. You attacked your opponent's character, personal traits, in an attempt to undermine their argument. Your reasoning, he says, as if it, coming from someone else, would hereby make anything I say more or less valid. Not true, by the way. If you say the sky is blue, it doesn't make it any true coming from person A or person B because it has objective truth. This is what was said. This is what happened is an objective truth. There is no opinion to do with it. He tries to look for an easy out. Then just stop being my friend. It's as easy as that if your ego can't handle it. Oh, it's just you that has the problem. Just leave if it's so hard, which I did, and later on you'll see how he continues to message me in hypocrisy of what was said. He brings up irrelevant examples. I'm alright with teasing. I tease amongst my friends constantly and take it back, but there is a line to be had to where it goes from being friends to being toxic. Let's continue reading. Again, trying to make me doubt myself. You just try to make yourself look better in the light. Even if it's your jokes, your ego legitimately cannot handle people even jokingly mocking you. And this is where I actually start getting a bit more serious. He tries to downplay it. Cunt. Legit, this is how Australians talk to each other. Do you not watch my streams? Yes, I do. And I see how you talk with your friends. You don't play half-serious conversation topics into jokes with others. Just with me. This is where he suddenly brings up his true focus. He says, look, when you inevitably hurt Lisa, at least do it smartly. I don't want to type anymore. You've gotten serious. I don't want to keep talking. Well, I'm not done. Block me if you need to. Big paragraphs inbound. I'm going to try to stop the commentary now and let this play out because my thoughts are rather complete in the chat box now. You can type up a storm. I just don't have the energy to go through it. I know you're done. You don't want to hear it. I think it's in your nature, for whatever reason. I think you're the same way in regards. You just can't have somebody being above you in even the slightest way. And so you're trying to flip it onto me, mate. It's not me. I may be egotistical, cocky, and a fucking bigot. But it's not just me, mate. It's not just me. And when you stop being a dick, I genuinely enjoy your presence. That's why you're so fucking dangerous. I keep you around because despite the fact you constantly have to lash out at the world for whatever wrongs it's done to you, you're intelligent. I enjoy your conversation. I enjoy the fact that you're cunning and your genuine lack of morals appeals to my own coldness. Remember the night we met. There's a reason we clicked. But God forbid you try to fucking flip on me, mate. I've done you no actual wrong, and maybe recently I've been being petty, but that's because I don't like fucking flipping around on you. I hate being cold to my own friends. I hate typing stupid paragraphs that have to be coherent when we should be having fun with each other. You know, friends, you should be able to let your guard down around them and stop having to worry about this kind of shit. Zeus teases me. It's cute. Dak, we have fun. Chris, he's way better than me at Overwatch. He's an intelligent kid. Bunny, I fucked up as a person, yeah. I was a spaz. Had nothing better to do over the summer, and I was just plain fucking retarded. I lashed out in the end because of my own incompetence and confusion. I learned a lot, but one of my biggest mistakes was trying to confide in you. I think you wholly underestimate the power of language. You call someone an idiot 100 times, and people will, believe it or not, subliminally start to respect the person who has let someone else call them an idiot 1,000 times. Normal friends don't continue calling someone an idiot 1,000 times when they've specifically told them this hurts my feelings, or this makes me uncomfortable. Normal friends don't do that, man. The only people who keep going on to do that are fucking bullies, or people who aren't my friend. Because I'm an adult, I don't have to put up with bullies. Yeah, I've been really aggressive, and I fucking warned you in the Facebook messages we had when I decided, hey, let's not block him and unfriend him on everything for acting like a piece of shit towards me. Let's give it another chance. If you treated me like shit, I wouldn't stand for it. You can't just stand there and constantly try to put me down and try to make yourself feel better. And trust me, it's really fucking obvious when you're joking and when you're doing something underhand and trying to hide it behind as a joke, because a joke everyone would be genuinely enjoying. Look, I don't give a shit about looking good in front of others, but I'll be fucking damned if I let you push me around for no good reason other than to make yourself feel better or have a fucking laugh. It's just you and me in the room. You told me a few days ago you were trying to intentionally make me angry. Well, here you fucking have it. In the end, I don't give a shit. You want to talk and stop being fucking petty? Let me know. You know my stance. What a fucking joke. Be a man and fucking talk with me. Don't just fucking run away because I'm actually deciding to get up off my ass and type something meaningful. You're smart. Just as smart as me. Smarter, even. So if you actually want to fucking toss around accusations of my character, do it properly. If you don't care to, it's no loss to me. Playing the you can type up a storm, I just don't have the energy to go through it card is total bullshit. I care. You care. Now if you care more about our friendship rather than being right, let me know. We can talk. In person, over the phone, over text, whatever. I'm just annoyed we had to pull the shit out of the buried dirt right when we're supposed to meet up and get drunk together. Fucking fuck, dude. Fuck off. I'm blocking you for a few hours where I clear my head. I don't want to talk right now. Later. I've unblocked him. You've succeeded. Congratulations. The joke is completed. Could you do it? Well, now you know. Sorry. You can't flip it around on me this time, mate. Unlike you, I don't suddenly decide that everyone who I disagree with is a horrible person, or rather, that sour attempt to cut into me failed anyways. You know exactly what I mean. My respect for you still remains high. I hate you not. I don't think you're a horrible person. I still haven't forgotten the first conversation we had on that custom game. I hope your feelings of betrayal fade later, so perhaps you can better understand what the words I've typed meant. I'll unblock you in a few hours. It is nothing personal. I am not angry, and I just don't wish to be disturbed. A close friend of mine had just pushed me towards something I really did not want to be pushed towards, and I hate that normality has to take a hit just to exemplify my point to him. It doesn't matter to me whether or not you do anything with the fact I will unblock you. I'm just informing you. I'm not blocking you as a mean to cut off criticism. I simply wish to clear my head, and I have a physics lab soon to deal with. If you have any criticism or advice about me and care to share it in a dignified and neutral fashion, I will gladly receive. If you wish to insult me or throw caustic terms around without actually defining the reasons behind them, don't even bother messaging me again. He says, I have many things I can critique you about, but alas, you may take them as corrosive in nature, so mayhap it be wiser you left me on block. There is no middle ground. You turn the entire thing around on me without seeing what you have done as well. And before you bring up be a man, you forget who you talk to, someone who has gone through a lot more on the gender scale than you know. If you want to talk instead of throwing large amounts of words to me to do so, but I don't think there's much in this case we can do to remedy what has been done, and I'm okay with that. Dab. Oh, and just a TLDR, I don't feel betrayed by you, I just don't like the fact you constantly say and spread shit behind my back to people who legitimately care and enjoy my company, like, dude, if it was a random, power to you, but you know how I feel about Zeus, and you know how I felt about Chris, and that shit ain't right. I don't go out of my way to shit on you to your aisle of friends or anything, and I know misinformation is easy to get, but fuck me, the way you act on it is just silly. Let me address what you've said, one by one. You may take them as corrosive in nature. Please don't misunderstand. I have not a problem with you criticizing me nor calling into question my character. I have a problem with needless bullying. As someone put, you're disrespecting me a little too much and trying to play it off like I don't get jokes. That is what I call into question. There is no middle ground. You've turned the entire thing around on me without seeing what you have done as well. I disagree that there is no middle ground personally. This is a rather presumptuous statement on where I lie. However, To address without what you have done as well is perhaps a bit too hasty as well. I am completely willing to hear you out. However, the particular reason I even brought it up is that you say you just ... even if it's jokes and I love ... for legit no reason and ... but come at me for no reason ... and when I joke, this is not to downplay anything you've said towards me. It's simply to state the fact that there is not just no reason. My feelings are a reason. The way I take what you say is a reason. Your jokes, they're not funny. They're bullying. That's that. I'm not sure why you do it, because maybe you think it's funny, or it's for my own good, or it's just a joke. Well, guess what? It's not just a joke. This isn't how you act towards your friends. You don't purposely make them angry just to turn around and say, I was trying to make you angry. Actual quote, by the way. And before you bring up be a man, you forget who you talk to, too. Someone who has got through a long more on the gender scale than you know. And I chose my words with purpose and in knowledge of that fact. I hope it speaks to the power of them. I don't know anything about experiences you've gone through with that sort of thing, and I won't ever pretend to. Please don't think that either. But I don't think there's much case we can do to remedy what has been done, and I'm okay with that. Again, with the authoritative language. Either that, or perhaps you're speaking to somebody else. Perhaps the Everett you think you're speaking to in your head doesn't actually exist, because again, I am more than willing to remedy what has been done, as if much has actually been done. Now, to say I don't think I am able to remedy with you what has been done, that's a different story, but I would personally be careful with those words. I'm glad you don't feel betrayed by me blocking you for a bit. I just needed to focus on physics for a bit. I just don't like the fact you constantly say and spread shit behind my back. I understand. If you've referenced specific instances and defined spread shit, and I'm actually in the wrong, I will apologize. Although I have already multiple times. It's not seeming to get through to you from where I stand. It shows when you keep bringing up something I've already admitted fault, as if I'd said, no, fuck you, Mika, instead of, yeah man, I was totally wrong. My bad. Why do you do this? He asks. I never go out of my way to spread shit on you. I don't go out of my way to spread shit on anyone. I would never intentionally spread hate nor malice. Your definitions seem very vague. I personally feel like there is some strawman villainization going on here. That means he's talking to somebody else who isn't me. Strawman fallacy. As if you're angry at someone that isn't me, and yet you've given them the name Everett. This is, again, before I actually knew that he flipped on me. Bottom line is, yes, I've done some fault perhaps. Please, by all means, show me how. But you're a bully, at least towards me, mate. My recent experiences have lightened me up to this fact. Normal friends, Australian or not, trust me, I know my fair share of Aussies, don't constantly berate to make you angry, something you had literally admitted to doing, and then get mad at you for not getting the joke. That is not being friends, that's making me your boredom outlet. Doesn't make anything you possibly say in statements about my character any less true. That would be a logical fallacy. So, by all means, say what you would like to about me, about what I've done wrong. I will admit to it and learn from it if it is true. Just know it goes both ways. Just because I may be wrong in some areas, it doesn't discredit the above. Why can't you type fractured words like normal? Shit is so hard to read on a phone. I prefer to type in a word. It's because the thoughts are rather complicated for me to grasp. If I don't have a proper word editor, sometimes I get scrambled, and sometimes I have other things as well, and having the message deleted will be annoying. We can talk later if you prefer. And this is where he starts to bring up the group chat. Again, I want to say ad hominem. Just because 5 people say something is right doesn't mean it's correct. You actually have to have all of those 5 people have a logical conclusion, which some of them actually do say some rather logical things, but a lot of them are just there to shit around and say things that make no sense. But there were 2 people in that conversation who were logical. So he says, I will type one thing. I think you really need to sit down and chat with like 5 people on my server, because in the statement that I'm a bully, I'm not. Sit on what? Your definition of what a joke is? This is legit how most adults fuck about, and I'm sorry it upsets you, dude. Like, legit. I am legitimately sorry my fucking me fuck G about upsets you. Thank you. He apologized. But you gotta understand. I said, I appreciate the sentiment. Perhaps our experiences in what joking is, what makes most jokes acceptable, are not shared. He said, me saying you're stupid doesn't indicate your IQ is low. I say, I know this. That is not the problem. Mika says, Sefu legitimately calls me a faggot all the time and berates me. That's what we all do. Tama doesn't. I say, that doesn't sound healthy. Mika says, Sif I've known for 13 years is done, but the thing is, we know we're friends. We're shit stirring. This is legit what Aussies do. This is our culture. I legit shit you not. I said, perhaps. Maybe the difference is showing some restraint around others. He says, this is how I was raised in school. This is how we all are. I tell him, I don't call my friends an idiot in public, really. Or in front of the chick they like especially. Maybe it is simply a cultural difference. Like, look, Australia is a different beast, and I'm not using it as an excuse. You rile your friends up. I say, I don't think, and God I hope, you're not doing anything like that intentionally. Perhaps it's best that I try not to associate with you if you're just not in control of yourself to the point where you can't stop yourself from constantly insulting me. He says, you dick about, our entire culture is dicking about. Say perhaps. Well, hell no, this is what we all do. And I'm glad you recognize it and this isn't a valid excuse. But seriously, dude, because it can be what it is, but my feelings, my hurt is still the same. And he says, you have issues. Everyone does, but please don't try to talk down to me when you want a proper response, which I don't really understand that. He says, I would still like to hear what you think, not just about me being hurt by the things you say to me. He says, I can give it to you during my own time. Appreciate it. I'd tip my hat if I could. He says, suddenly, bro, you're a horrible person to like. So many people, so am I. And I say, I apologize as if I sound like I'm talking down to you. He says, I'm not cold-hearted. I say, it's not my intent. I'm not calculative. I'm just smart how I present myself. I say, I share that sentiment, which is why you can't hurt me. I mean, we're human. He says, I got you to help me with Sarah, dude, because I legitimately love that girl, and you knew that. Fuck, I have some really dumb feelings for how do you think I feel. Again, I'm sorry if you're hurt, but fuck me, the way you act on your own volition, it's bad. I tell him, it really does, mate. It hurts. He says, you need to, and I say this in the most caring way, dude, and take a good look at yourself and see what I've done, and if I stop responding, that's because my phone's about to die. I say, okay, bud. He says, I haven't done all shit all besides tease you. Not true. And I got worse as you prodded back because everyone, and I shit you not, the 4 people you've played with saw how you treated me. There was no care in your voice. You treated me like shit. And I 4 people I played with and my friends saw it. I saw it. I say, if you bring up specific instances of me treating you like shit, perhaps later when you have more time, I can better address it. He says, dude, it's just the way you talk to me and about even on stream. I tell him, I cannot just take blanket statements like that. You know that's not helpful. He says, it's just as bad as you make me out to be. You're an arrogant cunt, and that's you, and that's fine. But you treat even your ILL friends like they're beneath you constantly, talking over them, not giving them spots to speak. I'm telling him, I don't play ball with bullying. I'd rather not toss insults back and forth as a way of maintaining some relationship. Says you're doing under shame as well. Again, I must reference this is me chatting you and not being toxic. I say if I've done so in the past, I'll stop. He says, you want my opinion, I'm giving it to you in the nicest way I can, okay? He says, I will legit go through this entire chat wall and show you points. You know I can do that, but you're just as much to blame as I in every single way. And I say, I prefer that. It makes it hard to catch your point, and that may very well be true. And I say, correct me wrong. I know I can do better towards you. He says, your words hit a lot harder than I think. So perhaps it could be the other way around as well, and please know I have the utmost respect for you either way. He says, don't, dude. Trust me. Don't trust me. Do not respect me. Do not offer me respect. I don't want it. I never have. Again, that's one of those factors. I'm personally of the belief to say everyone deserves respect, to be talked to like an adult, using logic, not insults. He says, that's incorrect. My phone's about to die. I'll talk in about an hour. I said, don't take it as something special, and I don't really mean it in a bad way. Even the worst people in the world, Hitler, are just misguided humans. And okay, we'll speak later. I don't think it's special, because I don't care what people think about me. Dab. Okie dokies. First off, my boy. Very weird. I don't know why you called me that. Because you blocked me, I ain't sad, I ain't mad, I don't care. I told you today, if you don't like it, delete me. It's easy as that. Without seeing what you have done as well, isn't used in a hasty manner. You have not seen the true damage you have done across a multitude of time, which I have seen. Your constant going to and how I saw things from Sarah I didn't want to see either of you, even if it was a joking manner. He says, the world isn't all one battle. You have contributed to this outcome, and like you said, be a man about it and actually acknowledge you have. Again, without bringing up examples, but I don't think there's much in this case we could do to remedy what has been done, and I'm okay with that. When I said this, I meant what I said. I have no intention to try to remedy something if all you do is sit behind your screen and take 30 minutes to type a paragraph and then lash out with words and act smart. If you wish to converse about major things, wing it. It's a lot more fruitful if you actually type as two parties go across. No need to delete shit, no need to remedy shit. Full fists, fingers flying, that's a real argument and conversation. There's no breaks to it when it's serious. Well, actually, that's not true at all. A lot of dialogue has occurred over time through letters, specifically the slowest letters, newspapers. People publish articles in response to each other. It's all part of an academic dialogue, so you can be peer-reviewed. But anyways, I go on to address this later anyways, so it doesn't really matter. You have not seen the true damage you have done across a multitude of time, which I have seen. I saw things and actually acknowledge you have. I say, you're bringing up a lot of things without making any allusions to specifics. Please tell me specifically what has occurred, specifically the crimes I've committed, or I have no way of knowing what you're talking about. I have no intention to try to remedy something with you when all you do is sit behind your screen, take 30 minutes to type a paragraph, and lash out with words and act smart. I would gladly have this conversation face to face, and it takes me less than 30 minutes, or to around a minute or two like this. I type up around 154 words per minute, so it doesn't really actually take me long to type all this, but I digress. And earlier, I don't really believe in blanket statements. You sort of have to back up what you're saying with, specific occurrences. You can't just say the sky is unbreathable. You have to, you have to give statistics to things or facts or tell a story on specific examples. You can't just make a blanket statement about something without actually backing it up. Anyways, sorry. He says, I say, if you think my point is to act smart, you're missing it completely. If I wish to converse about major things, there's no need to wing it. Think of what you're going to say first before you say it. Otherwise, you open the hole that allows for misunderstandings to come through. I will humor you, though, and we can call to discuss these things if you think that my carefulness of words somehow affects their value. There's no breaks to think when it's serious. I can't personally agree with this. The breaks are small and listen between, but I've had some pretty heated, life-changing accusational discussions where I had quite a bit of time to craft a response, or rather, form the thought that I already had in my head to words. I'm sorry for being late. I had fallen asleep. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. Eating foods, playing games, I'll try to stay awake. He says, also, I don't plan to see you face-to-face during this week, so typing is probably the best. For some context, we had made plans many times in the past, and they were all canceled, sometimes like several hours after I had been waiting, sometimes before, always canceled every time. But anyways, we had plans this weekend to meet up for my birthday. Just convenient, that he just happened to stop being my friend around that time, but whatever. It seems convenient. Anyways, he says, I'm of the personal volition that the medium doesn't affect the value or validity of the communication, so it's relevant to me to be honest. I said, ooh, look at you using big words. Again, I'll see if I can get Bunny on a call with us so she can help me explain to what you've done. Big words, small words, it doesn't matter. Use what you will to get the point across. This is across the board. Oof. I'll bring in Sefu, Tama, and Setch to prove a point, like, I need to wring some sense in you, man. Don't you see it from my side, right? How else am I meant to help you see it? Again, you can bring in people, but the reason I start to get uncomfortable here is really because I don't like, you can't really have group discussions. It's almost impossible, actually. You can only actually have one-on-one discussions and then flop from a one-on-one discussion to another one-on-one discussion. So group conversations are really best had amongst something more static where people aren't all talking at once. It's very difficult to address 4 different other people at once. I wouldn't mind being in like a one-on-one or a one-on-2 call, but a bunch of people and then trying to sort of crowd, peer pressure, mob rule it into making someone see your side doesn't really work. If you guys have ever seen the Change My Mind videos, that's a good example of that, where he has one-on-one discussions with people, and when people try to butt in from the crowd, he tells them not to, because there is a sort of crowd rule when you're in groups with other people. If 5 people are telling you one thing, even if it's incorrect, you're more likely to lean towards that. That's why I was sort of off-put towards it. I didn't actually have any problems with speaking with Sefu, Tama, or Bunny, one-on-one or one-on-two, where we could actually have a coherent conversation. It's just very difficult to have a dialogue with so many people at once, and it sort of went almost exactly like I thought it would. You'll see later in the video, I will show you the group chat and go through that. But anyways, I also said it makes me uncomfortable bringing in Sefu and Tama, people I don't know, but I will do it to hear you out. And even so, I hope you understand that it doesn't make you have acted towards me any less hurtful. Perhaps I can better understand why you've acted a certain way, but I'm less concerned with the way you joked with friends, and more in the fact you've purposely gone out of your way, as you put it, again, a quote, actual quote from him, to make me angry. He says, okay, wait, here, I'll make it easier and invite everyone to a chat, just so I can make quick points. The double-sided jokes, and then they can leave. To be honest, that's like really weird, man. I'd rather not. Again, I'd rather just have him talk to them and then come to me with what they've said, or just have us talk to them individually. He says, no sauce, my dude, like, I just need to prove a single point and then they can leave. I say, it's not a bash on Dremikek's chat. That's not my point. It's not about bringing in others. Just stop for a second and understand what I'm doing, Dremek, instead of being insecure. I say, wait. They will explain one part, then they leave. It's not bashing on you. That's not it, mate. I'm saying you need to actually prove a point, and bringing in more people isn't going to change the correctness of a statement. And I prefer that you have them individually be spoken to if you're looking for a specific example to be proven. He said, okay, I'm doing it anyways because you said I need to prove a point. This is one of my points. He said, I'm not going to have all my friends come to you and tell you how what you were doing made me feel, or the things you've done to try to justify it. He says, this is what I need to do to try to prove something. They're not going to justify anything. They actually do, but I just need you to see their responses. So just please shut up and let me do this part quickly. Fuck, made me get up from bed. Look, he said, if you don't, then just delete me, because you can step up and type sentences. I said, no, don't play that first. Let me speak to you first before you bring me into the group chat. He says, but if you won't let you use my own outlets to help you understand, I can't do it. I said, calm yourself. I am calm in the middle of the game. That's why I can't talk alone. I say, it's different if you bring me into something to show me what I've done wrong. But if the goal is to bring me into a group chat just to try to justify how you've acted towards me, it's meaningless. You hurt my feelings, man. I'm not going to bring you into a group chat full of my friends to tell you, yeah, you're acting like a dick, Mika. Just because more people think the earth is flat doesn't make it any more true. If your goal is to bring in some sort of conclusion through others, then I prefer you cut me the hassle of interacting with people I don't know and can't trust, and simply give me your opinion now. It has nothing to do with me being insecure. It's with it being ridiculous. I'm not going to bring you into a group chat to try to prove a point. I can do it myself. I would prefer it if you could speak to these people one-on-one, if that's something you want to do. It makes me uncomfortable for a bunch of random people I've never met to be in my private business. Or, by one-on-one, I mean you, me, then. It's different than bringing a bunch of random people into a chat. Again, going to what I was saying earlier. I'd rather, if they have examples to show, they can give those examples, and then somebody can come to me with those examples instead of having a bunch of people in one mess of a chat. He said, okay, made my own chat channel so I can just do this easier because you're legit just dodging it. I say, Jesus, perhaps I'm not explaining what I mean correctly, or I'm not asking the right questions towards you. He says, I said, here's the bottom line. He said, I understand what you meant. I legit told you, stop fucking, just let me type for the love of Jesus. I thought we were supposed to fling words at each other without pause. See why it's more useful? You know, I was referencing what he said earlier, where we should just be flinging words, he said, no, I meant sort. You need to chill and let me explain what I'm doing instead of constantly going, hey there, I'm Dremek, I'm going to argue. I don't understand. This is, again, he starts to sort of break down here. I said, nobody is stopping you from typing. He said, okay, easier way to do this. I say, go play your game if you wish. He says, just shut the fuck up, you annoying twat. Resorting to insults. Very classy. He says, or type now. He says, I'm proving a point. I say, no. I said, okay, then delete me. That's the thing. He says, you're an annoying faggot. I said what I needed. Bye. Shoo. I said, I will let you speak, but you can't treat me like this, man. He says, be gone. You won't let me speak. It's fine. You won't let me speak. We're supposed to be putting words back and right? He says, it's fine. That's okay. I don't need to waste my time on space that is not needed. Like, legit, you fucked over me. You fucked over Bunny. Yes, I fucked over you. I said, mate. He said, you fucked over many others. Again, more blanket statements. You've lied, manipulated, done a ton of shit without seeing wrong, even though I've apologized. Go fuck yourself. I said, you need to show me. You won't let me talk. Grab a rope. I said, I am. He said, take it down. No, it's fine. I don't care anymore. You're not worth the time. You say, you've disappointed me, Mika. I expected better behavior from you, honestly. And I did. It's very sad that he started resorting to insults. He said, to be fair, tell him, get it together, mate. He said, I expected much more from you, and I didn't get it, so I guess it's even. Say, at least I'm acting like an adult and not a child. He said, being two-faced isn't hard. You've got it down pat. You've asked me to prove my points. I offered a way to do it. I said, prove them. He said, you rejected it when they weren't going to say anything to you. I was taking my own stance. You wanted me to do it. I was trying to do it. You dismissed it like you always do. I agreed and said, I understand where you're coming from, but this was the way I need to start things. And again, you've dismissed it. Read what you've typed. And I didn't dismiss him bringing up his points. I dismissed mob rule. But I digress. He said, I will have a conversation with you, me, and another person. He said, it's not a conversation. I don't understand. He said, Dremek, that's what you're not understanding. It's just a point. I don't understand what he means by that. He said, no, I get it. Then just screams at me what they say. Have them speak in a one-on-one group chat. I'm not going to speak to a crowd. Again, he said, you won't be speaking. Holy fuck, what don't you understand? They will legit what? He said, okay, then why do I need to be there, Lamau? He said, say two things to my words, then they go, then we talk. How the fuck do I need to explain to you for like 12 minutes? This could have been done in 2 seconds. And then he shows me exactly what I thought he would. You know, he says he brings in a bunch of friends who are trying to justify his jokes, which again has nothing actually to do with him calling into question my character. That's what he's saying he's trying to do, yet he's simply bringing friends into a group chat to justify him being a bully. So I don't really understand where the connection was made there, but whatever. He says, see, two different cultures do the same thing. We rile each other up, we dick about, we mock each other, we're friends. That's what people do. And does it to me, I do it to him. He said, I'll read you that and post you this. Yes, but that makes me uncomfortable. I have no problem with you bringing as many people as you want individually. Let me finish my earlier point, perhaps. If you're just bringing people in to say, yeah, I goof off with Mika in this particular way, or when I saw you in Mika's Discord, you were a total dick. It provides nothing to do with me but making me uncomfortable around a bunch of other people, because on the flip side, I can bring in my friends who will tell you the exact opposite, that the way you fuck with me isn't really what friends do, or etc. If the point is to teach me about things about my character, I'm of the honest belief that it can be proven or said by you. Think of the words and perhaps come to me. And the only reason I'm uncomfortable with a group chat is because it will allow others to see what has been said. Again, words, and especially the power of suggestion, is very powerful. If somebody else sees, well, fuck apples, they're more likely to respond as such. I prefer it out of some bias for people to just be brought into a 3-on-3 group chat and have you type to them. I know it seems tedious, but that's what I would do for you, and if I'm not worth that effort and you'd rather make a group chat with everyone you want to ask, so be it. But some hive mind opinion will not change anything for me, mate. It will simply show other people's outlook on it. What exactly do you want to ask others? What point will they prove that you can't? That suddenly the way I feel about isn't valid? You can be wrong intrinsically. I think I meant objectively there, but anyways. But feelings cannot. They're subjective. And this is what I mean. The bully. I'm annoying as fuck. Herder, I am Dremek. Shut the fuck up, you annoying twat. You're an annoying faggot. You don't say these things to people you respect, people you find your equal in conversation. You do this towards people you look down upon. Look, if I fucked you over and fucked over many others, I am 100% willing to hear you out. But there will be some common decency if you do it. Name calling does nothing valuable. I understand perhaps I'm frustrating you, but you are frustrating me. God, trust me. It takes a lot to make me angry. I'm keeping it together. He says, stop. I said, sorry. Stop. Let me keep saying shit. Otherwise, let me read this. He says, just delete me. This is fine, the group chat I've read. He says, okay, now, you need to talk to Bunny with me at the same time to hit the big home run in my man, because that's the point. He says, the thing is, I know I was a total asshole with Bunny. I don't really particularly want to talk to her just because I feel bad, but not, I was completely willing to. As I say later, he says, you want to be told what you've done to us? No. That's what you don't see. You did so much more. She watches you treated multiple people like shit. So did I. You want to know what you did? Said, you've told me about it before, and yeah, I do, mate. If I've hurt somebody, let me have it. He said, then this is the way to do it, because you are legit the biggest, two-faced, scummiest person I know when it comes to females. I said, what an assessment coming from you in particular. Again, this is sort of playing back to how he was playing games with me, helping me play games. He says, yeah, because I treat women like objects, right? I say, I don't, mate, because I legitimately don't consider them objects, but it's just me. He said, okay, conversation over then. Goodbye, Drummond. He says, I say, you don't know half the people I know, but it's not to say I'm here now. It was just sad because Mika only actually knows a few of the people I know, which is, I'm surprised to say that I treat others like shit without ever actually giving any examples. But he says, nah, I'm good. Again, you tried twisting it on me. You did say it was my turn to say shit and explain shit. You turned it on me. Again, you want to be an adult? Said, no, I'll ignore everything you've done for this. I thought we came to the conclusion that there was multiple faults on both ends. And again, that's playing into the fact that I am a firm believer in not committing logical fallacies. Ad hominem is not something I do. If you're a bad person, you can still say something's correct. You can still say 2 + 2 = 4. So I don't know why he kept saying that. Again, felt like he was talking to somebody else. He said, yes, but you wanted your side. You asked me. And I said that the wrongs you've done don't somehow degrade the wrongs I've done. He says, for your side, I'm giving you your side. I said, we agreed on this. And okay. He says, Dremek, you legit said, if it makes it better, I cannot speak. I just want to hear what he has to say at this point, to be honest, because he keeps telling me he wants to tell me what he wants to say without actually telling me. He said, you wanted to know, I'm giving you all the information. You want to know. I'd really like to hear it. Really. Again, I'm trying to be as obvious as possible. He said, then why argue? Why deflect it? Why turn it on me? Like you asked for this. Am I giving it to you? Why are you not allowing me to do it? Why do you feel the need to stop? I said, maybe I'm not commuting my feelings, and I never said you're not allowed to do it. He said, Dremek, let's just stop. Like I said, I won't say that growing into a group chat with someone that I treated like shit does make me uncomfortable. He said, again, insulting me, you clearly don't have the IQ to keep the conversation going, and that's not me. Having a go at you, you can act all big brain with your words, but you clearly can't see how I'm helping the scenario. Trying to help. This isn't to attack you, this is legit to give you what you want. Again, playing into the fact that the group chat just ends up having nothing to do with people talking about what I've done, but actually trying to back up what, Mika's done, which makes no sense. I don't know why he keeps bringing this up. When we go into the group chat later, we actually see saying, no, I don't. I know that, mate. I've told you, 3 times, have it? Why are you stopping as if I'm telling you to read my past messages? He said, read mine. See how you said no to the group chat when I typed that out? Exactly what would happen? And to be honest, I had something different in mind. I thought that was just a miscommunication. He said, dude, I can't be fucked. I legit just want to spend time with Zeus instead of this fucking garbage. Again, he says, like, you won't give me my chance to do shit. Why should I give you yours? I said, when am I not giving you your chance? Please, by all means, continue. As I've said, I'm not to stop you. And I just said it made me uncomfortable. I said, we can talk later if you would rather spend time with Zeus. He said, look, what's the point? Like, at the end of the day, I don't want to remedy shit with you. I said, why stop? This is where I still didn't know he flipped on me. He said, stop what, Dremek? The combo? Or what little friendship has? I said, no, the fact you were going to tell me exactly what I did wrong, who I treated like shit, I want to understand. Again, he still hasn't given me actual examples or, screenshots or anything, or like a quote even would be helpful, like actual things. He said, look like you wanted to, good job. I wanted to help you like what you asked originally. I said, no, I never did. He said, you spent 20 minutes saying no. I'm not in the mood. Again, I kept saying it just made me uncomfortable, and I said no. I said, okay, maybe my communication skills are shit. He said, I don't have any more time to waste on this. I said, I'm not saying no, nor have I ever said no. He said, I just want to spend time with Zeus and my friends and just ignore your existence. I feel like that's better for both of us. You don't want to read my words, even though I explain it, even though you say you do. That's fine. I don't care. I've been reading your words. Like, literally aloud. Like, you don't give people the chance to talk or to defend or talk. I said, okay, now you're actually making me angry. You keep saying, I don't want to read your words. How many fucking times do I have to say, I want to hear what you have to say? I said, I don't care if you're right. I said, why are you putting words in my mouth? He said, you legit spent 20 minutes saying no. Again, after I've said around three times now that I want to hear what he says. He still hasn't. He says, if you think that's what it is. Even though I explained it 4 times, no, stop, Dremek, stop, child. Again, insulting me. Calm down. Read what I said. Read it all in. Absorb it in. I wasn't hard to understand. OP2 is clicked you off. This is what I mean. The bullying, I'm ignoring as fuck. Said, I do not think of you as an equal at this point. That is sort of the point where the conversation is almost over. Saying something like that doesn't really help to back up your point, because then it's not really a discussion, it's a lecture. And he was talking about me talking down to him. What a joke. Perhaps, maybe I don't understand what's being stated, maybe it wasn't spoken with. The wrongdoings I perceive as you acting towards me matter not. I'm not a fan of ad hominem. Again, as I've stated multiple times, and I was studying. As I've stated and will state, I am willing and able to hear you out in exactly who I've hurt, who I've treated like shit. I don't see how you think otherwise. Said, I do not respect you. Again, conversation should be over. I do not trust you. Conversation should be over. I do not care for you. Conversation should be over. I do not like you. The only reason I continued the conversation at this point is because I'm curious on if he actually had anything to say. I could have stopped it now. Just right, like, as soon as he started insulting me earlier, I could have just stopped the conversation. But I was legitimately curious on if he actually had anything to say, or if it was all just blanket statements without any evidence. So we continue. Again, said, here you go. Speaking to someone who doesn't exist. Calling me a child again. He said, dude, you're an annoyance, like legit all day, coming out with big fancy words, again, as if that actually affects how correct the conversation is. Think you can big brain out of this? No. Logic is important. It has nothing to do with big braining or looking smart. That's something you said. There's not remedy. There is no cure. Again, I'm not looking for a remedy or a cure. I'm just looking for something. Say no, silly. You're speaking to someone else. I've already expressed my thoughts towards you. You keep speaking to me as if I've said something else. He said, you need to look and read how you've typed to me all day because you're not worth it at all. Please go read everything from today with me trying to explain myself. You're brickwalling me out of everything. Again, for the 7th, 8th time now, I say, I'm willing to hear you out, and you've done nothing but claim how I'm not listening. I am listening. He flat out says, you aren't. And again, I tell him, I am. I said, you're really not. I said, sorry to break it to you, I really am. Like, that portion of the conversation in of itself just is mind-blowing. Shall we show others the chat logs so we can see how wrong you are, which I ended up doing. Shout out to Melissa for helping me. It's about 20-1 me saying I want to hear you out. Said, Kay, I made friends. God, I don't know how you think I don't. He says, let's get that big call going. Add you to friends. Oh, you want to see how wrong you are? Let's go. Sure. And thus, the group chat begins. Okay, so I'm going to skip a lot of this because he just starts posting Gaiazos instead of just making an HTML. I'm just going to scroll through this. He says, not my fault, you're a monkey. Brooke, I already read through half of it in effort. Again, he brings in people who don't want to actually read it and have an actual discussion. I'm trying to prove a point here. If you don't offer him reasons, how he's meant to reflect. He already said half the shit and half the shit I did read. Nothing more needs to be said if blanket statements aren't definitive. I said you should read the rest if you're to make a conclusion. Again, because if you're going to talk on something as if to have knowledge on the subject, you should be well versed in it. I said I'm not making shit. Said, okay, Dremek, you've made your entire movement because at the start you said you took a break from interacting with Des because you didn't like the situation he gets in. Why did you interact with him again? It makes no sense. It's Des. He's not going to change the way he interacts with people. It works if you aren't afraid of a joke. And Sefu did make a valid point there. I said, to be honest, I wanted to see if I can make it work because Senpai has fun, but he's fun. Sefu, if you're watching this, you're right. Anyways, I already painted your portrait and read a book to you out loud. Like, again, reading blanket statements. They're just trying to agree with the blanket statements and not actually, again, providing any examples, which I would love, in this group chat to read some examples. But again, aside from Sefu talking with me about how I made a mistake with talking to Senpai again, which again, I completely agree with, Sefu, scrolling down, they see the reasons, Dremek, they are there. I love specifics. You can make blanket statements all you want, but until you actually tell me you said this to this person and that made them feel this way, then I can't actually take anything you say, because it's just, again, a blanket statement. I can't just take your word for it, especially if you've told me not to trust you specifically. So not only I said, slight feeling you have less of a brain than I do, and that's saying a lot of insults. Mika tells him to stop. So it's not saying it's the whole thing that they're saying right from the get-go, you should have known how this would end. Well, maybe that's true. That's what Sefu was saying. Again, completely different point from what Miku brought up. He said, look, you've ruined my night game with Zeus, and said, what does this have to do with me treating others like shit? Because again, this just turned into him talking about how Senpai was joking around. Said, if you can find a point amidst all the stuff you think is worth, then show me, but I already led like 20 pages and it's all the same shit. Again, if you're gonna actually make a conclusion, you should read through something. But he said, they're smart despite being retarded. What you said, you just make a stand. It escalated such a, you could, again, I did admit default, but he said, again, bring in your friends if you want. He said, I don't think a 12-person discussion will be all too easy to follow. Again, the wrongdoings I perceive you acting towards me, I'm not a fan of ad hominem. Again, it doesn't have anything to do with your character, whether or not you make a correct statement. He says, I love when you try to act smart. Again, it's sort of that downplaying. It has nothing to do with me acting smart just because what I'm saying is correct. Ad hominem is not a good thing if you're trying to make a logical argument. So the point I'm making is that I've done wrong, but you keep dancing around the fact without ever actually telling me what it is. Again, making blanket statements, not actually giving me examples, you know? Said, you've ruined my night, I didn't dance, and then the claims won't listen. He said, I offered you a way of seeing it. Okay, yeah, I'll agree with that. You offered me a way of seeing it, but your way of seeing it, if you don't give me examples, then I can't take it as an objective statement. It's just a subjective point of view, which is valid, but you have to offer objective truth, you know? Said, if you don't think a 12-person discussion would be easy to follow, what did you discuss? I said, I'm listening. Where is it? He said, you deflected it. I said, I'd bring in Bunny, tell you what you did wrong. I said, no. Why? I said, I never said no. I said, I'd bring in others for bullshit you wanted to read the chats. And again, I never said no. I said it would make me uncomfortable. I never actually said no. Again, I'm quoting myself. That makes me uncomfortable, but I will do it to hear you out again when I agreed with it. Said, let me highlight again with the strawman fallacy. I said, I'm tired you did. She was part of the first group. Said, guys sending memes or calling out how he deflects anything said in the last 12 videos. I have more important people to talk to who legitimately make me happy. Okay, I added in somebody else. He says, you do realize this is further cementing our points. Again, points that were never made, aside from, you know, keeping talking to Senpai, which is a good point. You're focusing on everything around the argument, not the argument itself. When Sefu says that, I don't agree with that. There is no argument. That's the problem. Well, there is one, but there's no actual basis. Again, you can't make blanket statements without backing them up with evidence. So yeah, I'm trying to find evidence right now. That's why I joined this group chat. I'm still waiting for it. I said, I added somebody and then he called him a lapdog. Very nice. I said, I love how you bring friends with biased opinions of you. Yes, as if your friends have no biased opinions of you either. I actually specifically picked up people who would be unbiased. He said, I bring people, throw me under the bus. I said, I brought in the ones who are awake. To be honest, this was at 3 a.m. Said, I'm not doing an ad hominem attack. I know Des. My point is about you, not Des. I really don't think Sefu knew what was going on because he didn't read the rest of the conversation. But I said, okay, Sefu, but I'm still waiting for specific examples. I say you cannot, and I mean cannot, make general statements. You have to be specific. You cannot just take someone's word for it. And again, he says, Sefu, you can't win when he's like this. He's a child more so than you. Said, okay, the first thing I typed, you reconnected with Des after knowing that you didn't like the way he treated you. And again, I said, because unless I have specifics, how am I supposed to learn? I said, he said, there's something specific. Again, I already agreed with him on that. I said, okay. Said, she went to bed, now you gotta wait. Spent a good 30 minutes saying no. Again, I never said no, but I said, I hope you understand I'm trying to keep the tone neutral, Sefu, and I really do appreciate with you taking the time to actually try to discuss with something with me, but I can address that in particular if you would like to. But what does me reconnecting with Des have to do with Des telling me I'm a horrible person? And this sort of devolves into, like, this is, again, why I didn't want to be in a group chat, because there was a few different conversations going on here. Sefu specifically thought the point of the conversation was me reconnecting with Des because he only read up until that point. me and Senpai were talking about, or at least we were supposed to be talking about, him talking about the bad things I've done. It ended up being him talking about, you know, his behavior. And then I finally get him to start talking. He says he was there when I had deal as shit as you legit Spock Bunny. Answer me that. Okay, let me explain. He knows so much more than you think. Again, still love to wait for examples. He says, legit tell me what I said, what Des said anything to do with the fact you reconnected. I said, I can answer what you're saying, Sefu, but the entire point to this conversation is how Des has told me that I'm a horrible person. Des has told me I've treated people like shit. However, he says, when was that the point of the conversation? It was always the point of the conversation. If you had actually gone through and read, you would have seen that. But I said, if I'm wrong in trying to understand the conversation, and the goal is to clear Des of any perceived wrong, then we can discuss that if you'd like. He says, because I sure as fuck didn't realize it was. Again, that's why it's important to read everything. He says, I'm not in the clear, fuck me. I ain't saying I did nothing wrong in Monkey. Again, I never said that. I was trying to shift the conversation towards me so they could start putting blame on me, which I've been waiting for. That's again why I went into here. I actually wanted to hear the points they had to make, and I was trying to get these specific points out of Mika. He said, I'm not a decent person, but unlike you, I didn't stalk a girl after she clearly told you to fuck off. We will sort of get into something he did later. After this group chat, I'll address some stuff in the final remarks. Anyways, I said, I'm not the one using for someone for constant on and off relations. Again, not true. I'll address that maybe a little bit later. He said, thank you for finally and actually putting down some examples, because he actually put down examples. I was just trying to wait for his examples. He says, I'm not the one backstabbing people and lying to them about their mutuals and using information. I'm not sure about the backstabbing part. Not sure about the lying to your mutuals part, and nor misinformation part. I mean, it might be a little bit true, but that was only when I talked about 200 SR being boosted instead of 100. I don't understand how that's backstabbing. Again, this plays into talking about it was sort of an excuse. He legit had to cry because I kept calling him stupid and teasing him. Again, this is sort of going off topic, going back to how Senpai is trying to invalidate my feelings, which is wrong. This is because I'm a big bully. And then why do you not talk about the point I raised? And then Unwielded comes in. He says, none of you know me, but both parties can tell me what the major point of this all is, which I was trying. This again, I really didn't want to go into a group chat because this discussion has digressed so far down a rabbit hole. LOL. Yes. He says that's realistically the cause of everything here. Well, that may be true, Sefu, but still, I was, again, the reason I came to this group chat because I was trying to figure out specific examples so I could hear him out. He said, wonderful TLDR. Jamek upset because I call him names. No. The TLDR is that he called out my character, and I was trying to hear examples on that, not try to justify Mika calling me names. I said yes. But again, me being a piece of shit is a separate objective truth from Des. Said then I got mad because he went to a mutual friend and spread information. But again, just changing a number from 200 to 100, is that really worth it? I said, which I saw, which he does all the time. Again, not bringing up any examples aside from that one example all the time. I said, I can address that in particular if you want it. He says, that true? Or like, I'm hearing two sides. Scrolling down, barely know either of you. I can show you chat logs, yeah. I thought he was boosted from 3,900 to 4,000. Then he told me otherwise, and I 100% agreed with him and admitted fault. He said they'd come back to me. He said 3,800. Get your lies right. Again, not lies, just misinformation that I was given or remembered. And then Unwielded, voice of reason. For some reason, it is more correct if Unwielded Blade agrees with it versus me. Again, I've already admitted fault, but he says, oh mate, sure, misinformation has spread. How is that actually pertinent to this? That information has really slandered your name. He says, no, it's not the slander part. I don't, which is what he said was slander, and he brought it up as an example for slander, which again makes no sense. Like, it's not a coherent discussion. He just doesn't honestly matter if it has to do with Overwatch. Again, it doesn't really. It's the fact that he goes around telling people shit for no reason, even if it's not game related. Again, not bringing up examples. He says, where's the principal got you, and has done so to multiple friends. Again, not bringing up examples. He then plays the where the friends card. I don't recall that. He says, can you re-ask your point, Sefu, and then we can fight each other. I'm not going to be gay and play this card, but like, he was talking about when I demoted him earlier because he was actually, Core was calling other people names as a Discord moderator, and I sort of demoted him for that because I didn't want him going around calling people names. And then at Sefu, we're going to scroll down. Why did he reconnect with Des? Knew he treated you. He started. I just realized there was a lot of behavior that maybe I used to be without you trusting again. What Cora's talking about. Cora is insulting Lisa. Sorry about that. Let's just leave her out of this, Cora. I agree. She has nothing to do with this argument. Yeah. Says, okay, so if you realize we're okay with it, why did you persist in communications with him like it's obvious you weren't being happy around him? He said, I legitimately at the time didn't think much of the way you treated me. I thought that maybe he was just joking and that it was just me or something like that. I wanted to try to make it work because I enjoy Senpai as a person. He was interesting to talk to. We have interesting discussions. However, it sort of devolved recently, again after that flip, into more than a joke. I said same to you. How well do you know? I say very little. Okay, well, that's not true. I actually met Unwielded Blade in real life, but whatever. Cora's known me for a while. I said I would bring in more people, but they're all asleep, because again, this is 3:46 a.m. for me, for both of us, or so he claims. And then he brings up Bunny, and I was talking about how I was a big asshole over the summer. Booty up. I said not much I can say on Bunny. He said, okay, we go. He wants to know why I think he's a horrible person. He shoved me into this giant love pyramid with this girl called Bunny, and I had to watch him creep and harass her for 5 months. Again, this happened over 2 months, and I'm not really sure about the creep and harassment part. I was a little bit obsessive, but I wouldn't call it that far. Make her legitimately upset. That's true. Look at chat logs, all the other shit. I said only after you shoved me with Stardust, because this was after we had gone together and I had helped him with his catfishing problem. He said constantly, yeah, man, bringing that up. Get the chat logs. Said I was a total creep, no point in that. Let's fight each other in time. 5 months, not sure about that. He said, let's see you help me, but first someone that you helped to burden all your shit. I want an innocent fucking girl. Have to watch yourself around me because you're so fucking unstable when you go close to a girl. Again, I'm not really sure about that one because he's only ever really known 2 girls that I've ever associated with. So I'm really not sure about that one. And also, this is after he was the one playing games with me. And I can go back and bring up specific examples maybe later in my final thoughts when I'm going through some other stuff. That's when I was in Artsplay. You want reasons as to why I think you're a bad person? You deflect everything said to you. There we go. This is what I was looking for, by the way. I was waiting for this for like a long time. I was trying to get this out of him for a while. He wasn't telling me. You harass people. You don't let them speak. You don't let them talk. You barge over them. You smash your ideals on them. You're legit fucking around Zeus emotionally. Constantly do this. Sepho has to hear me bitch about all this to him because he knew Bunny when I met her. He knows the entire thing. You want to know why you're shitty? Read what I've said constantly because I'm not an angel. I'm a scummy person as well, but at least I let people talk and then reflect. I don't just brick wall them with sentences and talk smart so I can build a little. Not sure about that last sentence, but I hear what he's saying with all the other points. That is why I joined the group chat. I was trying to hear that out so I could take that into consideration. He said the issue is the entire day I've said to just delete me. I've constantly said in the chat logs above to just remove me. Again, I can't just do that. We have mutual friends. It's a little bit more complicated than that. Because again, I'll show you why. Because he keeps I stopped talking to him after this, and he kept messaging me, and then actually going to friends behind my back and literally coming up with blatant lies. I'll also go into how he did something sort of similar with a girl who rejected him, but that's just another thing. It has nothing to do with my character. Again, no ad hominem here. He said because he can't grasp the knowledge that I think he's a shitty person. No, I can't. And his entire argument is, you're a bully, brick-wall text, read. No. Again, no ad hominem here. What you're saying is valid, regardless of whether or not you're a bully. He said, I'm Dremic and I spell big words to confuse people. No. I spell big words because my thoughts are complicated and I need to use words to describe them. It is human nature to keep done with friends. If you can't mock your friends, you don't have friends. Again, I get you may say that, but what you're doing still isn't any more valid. You said yourself it was an excuse. Said he called me a pathetic weakling that needs to learn to take a joke. This from a 15-year-old been teasing a child. While we're still here, you have the same powers of deleting him that he has you. You're up at 4 a.m. or whatever trying to talk to him to either prove a point or fix this. I said, dude, you delete me, I unblocked him. Says, Jesus, this is what I was trying to hear you said. You finally said something definitive instead of dancing around it. The entire point of my conversation was to separate the fact that you're bullying me doesn't make me any less a piece of shit. I said, cunt, I said all of this to you. Read the chat logs, you fucking illiterate monkey. And I literally read them aloud and you did not. So, again, you have the same powers of blocking and deleting him. I legit have been telling you for this get-go. When I offered, we didn't understand that you deflect it. Well, at the time I did sort of want to fix this, but that was before other things. But he says, because you're not fucking smart, again, going insulting me. I do not see it directly. Look at Blade, he understands. I don't know. I think I read what you said. And if you don't, then why continue this meaning? He says, Burke understands, he keeps going, he wants it to. I want him to stop. I asked him countless times to fuck off, look at the logs in the end. No, senpai, you're just guilty. Keep going as I see it again. Because I want to hear something from you instead of just journalized statements. Again, said, I'm not, cunt, shut the fuck up. Blade is the one talking, not you. You're irrelevant. Again, resorting to petty insults instead of acting like an adult. He said he's actually making sense, unlike you. He's actually reading when I'm typing, unlike you. No, I really am reading, literally aloud. I'm going through it. I'm having a proper discussion with a person like you. The irony here. I understand I'm partially at fault, but this is insane. I have the power to block him, yes, but he had the power after I told him to keep me blocked and non-block. I said, again, I quoted something here. Both parties know what they want from the result. To be honest, I just wanted his general statements to be given form. Again, I just wanted to hear what he had to say. I really just wanted to hear it, just for my personal preference. So delete me, you're an autistic fuck who can't keep a proper conversation like Blade, says the guy typing like that instead of typing incomplete thoughts like an adult. Whatever. How's this hard? Blade is legit, one-to-one talking me. Unlike you, he wants to resolve shit, he's doing it. I said, he spent a long time dancing around to accusations without actually giving me anything, until now. I said, why can't you be a normal person, cunt? I've told you all day. Again, insulting me. Alright, let's keep the name calling to a minimum. Why I hate you. I've legit gone on my own arm's length to call you on your bullshit. Senpai, I could say you suck all day without ever explaining why, and it would be worthless to you. And I said, no, I'd agree it sucked because I'm not retarded. I'm sorry, but I don't agree with that. I am me. I don't take a petty insult. Sorry, I don't understand. I said, if you made a genuine effort to explain to me what I've been doing wrong, you haven't done it properly with language until now, in my opinion. He says, I'm not that fucking dense, cunt. He says, again, sort of showing what he's talking about, the whole reason to this sort of logical rant, insulting me, etc. You know I don't trust you with, and I don't trust you with money. He said, all right, so I'm getting what Drum is saying. I don't trust you with Cheery. I don't trust you with anybody. Cheery, you've gone out of your way to spread fucking shit about me constantly with miscommunication. Okay, more blanket statements about one example of ignorance where a number was wrong. And when called on out, you give me the same rundown every fucking time. Yeah, and I'm sorry. I just wanted to stop at this point. What a horrible rundown. Friend with the biggest fence, because you're not trustworthy, you're not respectable. The misinformation I've spread has been out of ignorance, not born of malice. Again, that one time. He says it was malice telling me my intentions. Thank you. Thank you for telling me my intentions. That you can't do that, by the way. It was malice. No, it was not. I legit have chat logs of you and Bunny. I said that's where you're wrong, and you're mocking me to Bunny. No, stop. I said malice it is not. I'm not. I'd like to see those chat logs, actually. I said, I legit have chat logs of you open mocking me. You cannot make definitions on my intent, only the outcome. You stop right there. I can certainly read into words like you calling me an annoyance and berating me to one of my closest online friends. I said, please show me. He says, Sosme, I know so much. Again, please show me. And he goes off. He says, Sosme, I know so much that you fucking know. And I said, I specifically used the word annoyance? Question mark? I said, imagine joining your Overlord lobby and hearing you talk shit about me, or you trying to have Stryker dislike me. Again, I don't know what he's talking about. He said you trying to make Stryker dislike me, somebody you played with on VR chat, which I do not recall. Said how annoying I am on VR chat before I load in. I'm not sure about that one, Chief. I don't recall anything about Stryker, to be honest. I don't recall ever having the intent of doing that. He said, you two-faced fucking cunt. You do all this by accident. Fuck off. You don't openly make things worse for people by accident. I said, this is what I was talking about. I really think you're picking me as something else. There's no malice here, senpai. He said, you don't make people try to pick sides. What a joke. You don't try to make people pick sides. I'll show you an example of this hypocrisy in my final thoughts. He says, my accent, no, fuck you. You want to know why I hate you? Again, I don't hate him. He says, malice is born people who think they need to lash out at the world. I said, you're having it. I don't care. I said, go ahead. He said, you're a fucking pest. Nice insult. Thank you. He said, you legit fucked Bunny over so goddamn much. You fucking clung to the idea of Sarah worse than me. Which was the person who catfished. He said, you are legit so horrible, and the way you talk to your IRL friends, even on stream, you don't get the chances, you just override everything with yourself. You're a fucking dick. I don't see how you don't see it. If I'm self-aware, why aren't you? What makes you so perfect in your bubble? And what has happened in your life that you need to be so courageous and protect your priorities? I said, I'm not perfect, God, nor have I claimed to be anything, my collection, but a dick and a horrible person. I just wanted to understand your claims, where the accusations were coming from. He said, I stopped being your friend after you lied to my face countless times. Okay. I recall being the one who stopped talking to him, but perhaps it was mutual. He says, I won't talk to Bunny, I won't harass her, I won't bother. He said, I saw you countless times, follow her, message her, bug her. I said, that's true. I'm guilty of that. I did message her. And then he said, then to have lied to others, just fuck me dead, dude. I said, I'm sorry I've hurt you in this way. Senpai, really? Correct or not? He said, no, I don't want sorries. I want you to go away. I said, no, it's fine. To say sorry to Bunny. Which I have, by the way, in the past. I said, if sorry isn't good enough, but I'm not someone who abuses friendships like you. Yeah. I said, how am I supposed to even begin to apologize for being the piece of shit I was? Yeah, and I pretty sure he said sorry to Bunny, not him. And again, I've sat down and apologized. I can't really do anything else. I've apologized. Regardless of whether or not that actually means anything, I have. Said, like, I want a proper sorry for what you've done to her emotionally. I don't care about myself. I'm not sure about that one either. Said, thank you. The way I handled myself around Buddy, it was literally one of my biggest regrets. I don't think you understand just how much I fucked up myself after you made me realize how much of a little piece of shit I was acting. He said, I don't care how you treat me. I'm not a good person. I'm by far not a person. I'm the scummiest piece of shit in the world. I will brick wall you and toss you aside when you fuck me over. Let's not forget that statement. I will brick wall you and toss you aside when you fuck me over. Because he gets to decide what fuck me over means. So he can justify just tossing people aside, which I don't care what you do. I'm not gonna toss anybody aside. Like, it doesn't matter if you're my worst enemy in the world. You deserve respect because you're a human being. But he says, I will not have you hurt people and spread rumors about me. Again, blanket statements. And then act like you're a fucking saint. This is just, I don't know what to say. I don't, again, this is playing into, I don't think he can read. I know that's a petty insult, but I've been saying these things over and over, how I'm not a saint. And then I say again, for like, the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th time, I'm a piece of shit too. And I said, I wish there was a way to express that. I said, if you think you're a horrible person, I've done some fucked up shit, man. Shit you have no idea about. Shit I will never come back from. Shit my family will never forgive me for. I am not a saint. I am not perfect. He says, I don't care. What? He says, I don't want to try to act like a saint. I said, I've lived a shitty life, and I've suffered more than you will ever know. But if you by far, I said, I will try to do better. He said, Cord just comes in. He says, ever think of hurting Zeus? Or lying, or anyone, or lying to my friends, I will fucking stop you just like I am now. You know who I am, Dreaming. I know this. He fucking stopped Bunny, made her lose social groups. I'm not sure about that one. And basically fucked her around constantly. She was so scared for herself because legit every second he was there. He says, dude, like, no one understands what Dreaming has done, and it makes my entire argument moot. Okay. He said, Senpai, what am I supposed to say? I bring in friends who would legit throw me on. I shit you not, throw me under the bus. He says, what you're saying is right, man. And I was, again, referencing Bunny. I was a spaz. He said I would do it for some skills, to be honest. And there's a bunch of jokes. Where are we? I recognize a pattern in behavior I wasn't found out. You're allowed to hate, but it's fine. I didn't say we were talking about Cord being a moderator. Unwielded says, here's kind of what I think to resolve this whole thing. It feels like judgment on his choices in this point. He just wants valid data. Exactly, this is the point as to why I joined the group chat instead of just stopping talking to him. The point just wants valid data on how to improve himself rather than just being generally berated. Senpai, you've definitely been more specific, but maybe if he can ask you about some things, you could just give some general feedback without any extravagant attempts. Senpai, correct me if I'm wrong, but you were willing to fill Gem. Again, I didn't realize that at this point that he flipped. I'd still been willing to be his friend. I didn't realize this until later. Some final information that I heard. Anyways, scrolling down, he said, a man of culture. Thank you, Core. Because he's personally give everyone the respect they deserve and shut up people in it. He was talking about me demoting Core from moderator for insulting people, but we just go on a tangent about Core being demoted, which I don't think really is relevant. And then this goes into me emotionally manipulating Lisa. That's a whole nother ball game. I'm not really going to bring her into this, but this is again the girl that he likes that he just met a couple weeks ago. Party still done to fix the situation, and this is just a lot of discussion about Lisa. I think I'm just going to end this segment here because there's nothing really relevant that would actually help. I'll scroll through it though if you're interested, and of course there will be the HTML files in the description for anybody curious on reading. Knock yourself up, and we'll go to our final thoughts. Some closing remarks. The last time I talked to Mika was the day before my birthday. Ironically, that was Valentine's Day. The remaining messages finally pushed me towards giving up on Mika. The fact that he flat out told me I was giving out random accusations when there was no such thing just led me towards the conclusion that he simply can't read. So there's no further point in talking with him. It's sus that he ditched before my party, and that's not an accusation. That's a statement, an opinion. It is suspicious. Explanation or not, it still stands, and yeah, he stood me up several times. So many times I lost count. And sometimes without even texting me to let me know plans were canceled, and always some different excuse. I even hear he made plans to meet up with others who I know and ended up canceling those plans very last minute too. Maybe it's anxiety, maybe it's him being busy, or maybe he's just one of those people who don't respect others' time. Maybe it's all just an act. See, I've had my doubts. He lies constantly about his whereabouts. One minute he tells me he is for sure in Los Angeles. One minute he's on stream, tagging his servers as OCE and running 14 ping on Australian servers when he's supposedly in California. He claims he lives here when his work hours completely match a 9-to-5 job in Australian time. It seems a bit too convenient that every single plan when made with him was just cancelled. Not just with me, but others as well. I mean, accusation or not, it is suspicious, and plans were made and then cancelled every time. Is he even real? It doesn't add up. That aside though, him not being what he says he is not my only suspicion. I am of the personal belief that Mika is possibly bipolar, and should honestly see a therapist about his flippantness. It's not just me though. Remember Shring, the guy who boosted Mika? He's actually 14. He constantly comes to me about how stressed out the drama Mika brings him makes him. A few weeks ago, say a few days before the night of the flip, he had a falling out with Shring because Shring decided to stay friends with the girl who rejected him. Yep. He gave Shring an ultimatum: either you block this girl who rejected me, or we will not be friends. He said he felt as if I was betraying him because I was friends with the girl who rejected him. A confusing choice, even for a fully grown adult. Apparently, Mika had fallen for this girl, and when he confessed, she said she didn't feel the same way. Or rather, she would just want to stay friends. In response, he went on to slander her name, going around spreading as much caustic information about her as possible, insulting her elo, etc., telling his friends to block her, trying to cut her off. He flipped on her, just as he flipped on me, and just as he flipped on Shring. Yeah, it's not just me. He flips constantly on Shring at 14-year-old. I'm loosely quoting him, but one moment he's my friend, one moment he decides he's not. But he still wants to play Overwatch, and then he says he loves me? Doesn't that sound bipolar? Perhaps. Perhaps not. I'm not a psychologist, but Mika should definitely see one. And finally, I'd like to address the reason I realized he had flipped on me. Why I even bothered to make this video. The sudden epitome occurred when I was talking to my other friends, and they tell me about how he's been consistently going around talking about me after I've ghosted and now blocked his messages and didn't really speak much of him. Not only does he openly insult me to others, calling me evil, he goes on to try to convince the girl I had fallen out with that somehow I tried to isolate her from her friends in the past, and he began to continue to try to play up my past behavior to extremes, blatantly lying to others in an attempt to get them to choose him over me. And unlike you, Mika, I don't make my friends choose. People are free to associate with whom they choose. I will not force your hand. I'm not that cruel, not that controlling, not that insecure, not bipolar. Truly a pity. I pray you find the help that you need.